Hey, everybody, this is Matt with Hilltop Productions and the wonderful Scary Movie Project, of course. And we want to welcome everyone to this wonderful episode, interview, whatever you want to call it. A little something different this time around. I am joined by two wonderful people, Tara Garwood and Sara Crocoll Smith, who are creating a wonderful short film that is going to be coming out very soon. They're going to start production on it very soon. I want everyone to back it. I want everyone to look at it. I want you to hear more about it at ivyshort.com. They're going to tell you all about this wonderful piece they're making. So I won't ramble too long because I want to hear from them, and I know you do too. So ladies, please introduce yourselves and tell us all about what we're talking about today.
Well, hi, I'm Tara Garwood, and you guys know me as the co-host of the Scary Movie Project. I'm also a filmmaker, and Sara and I are making a film from her short story, The Strangle of Ivy. And for those of you who are on YouTube, this is my dog, Carlton. You may also see or hear Bean because we are not in my booth today. We are out in the wilds of my home with the dogs.
Yes, we love dogs on this program.
And I'm Sara Crocoll Smith. I'm the author of The Haunting of Orchard Hill and the editor-in-chief of Love Letters to Poe.
Excellent. Awesome. And I'll quickly, I guess, where can people find you guys? I want to mention, besides obviously ivyshort.com, we plug again, where can people find you for personal stuff that you guys work on?
Sure. You can find me at terracottafilms.com. And I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, all of them at Terracotta Films.
Wonderful.
And I'm at saracroccollsmith.com. That's SARACROCOLL Smith.com. And loveletterstopoe.com.
Right on. Fabulous.
Oh, and I should probably mention that terracotta is not like the pots.
Yeah, right. That's true.
It is my name plus kata, TARAKATA.
Not clay pots that we grow flowers in. Yes.
No.
Okay, so I want to know, and everyone wants to know also, how do you, we don't need necessarily a life story. You can tell us if you'd like to, but how did you guys get to know each other? How did you end up collaborating on this piece? And is this your first piece, or have you guys done stuff before?
Oh, sure. Well, do you want to tell them how we know each other? How we got to know each other?
Life story.
Tara took my old job.
All right. That's awesome.
And then Sara was kind enough when I took her job at a government agency. I took her job, and she was kind enough to meet with me and sort of read me in.
Look at that.
To the position.
You guys are
and
so
we
nice.
Just kind of became friends after that. We
That's
realized
awesome.
that we were both into a lot of the same things, and we just, especially over the pandemic, I think we really connected a lot.
Good.
And then as far as the film, this is our first project together.
Okay.
Basically, this happened because Sara writes these fantastic, beautiful, like moody gothic horror pieces. And I read this one, and we had been talking about like at some point maybe doing a film together or something. And I read this one, The Strangle of Ivy, and I went, "Can I make this?" I said, can I option this and make the film? And she said, sure. So we wrote the screenplay together.
Awesome.
And that's kind of the story of how that happened.
Yeah.
So this is our first thing, but we have more in the wings.
Well, that was I was going to say also. I mean, and this is the first of many, we hope, right?
We hope so.
Yeah. Okay, that's awesome. That's really cool. Yeah, I mean, I certainly hope this is something that leads to a lot more. So let me ask you this, without giving away too much, of course, because we want everyone to watch everything. And again, if you want to get involved, you want to visit ivyshort.com. Tell me as much as you can, or if you choose to, what's an overall message? What's an overall theme of this piece? What are people going to get out of it? What do you want them to get out of it? That's kind of broad, I realize, but I don't know. Take that however you want and go with it, I guess.
You can start.
Yeah, it's hard with a short film because you don't want to give too much away.
Right.
But the sort of top level plot line is that a grown woman comes home to help her ailing mother. And there's some weird things happening with Ivy at the home, obviously. And there are some family secrets that get revealed that change them forever.
Mm-hmm.
I like family secrets.
And one of the things I think that the sort of, as you're saying, what you want people to get out of it, one of the things that we've talked about, and that is part of the reason I wanted to make the film, is that it really deals with adult children with older parents, and sort of that transition as you as the child are now sort of becoming the caretaker of your older, maybe not doing so well parent. And that really, although I am not there yet, thank God, that struck home with me, because I do worry about the time when my parents need my help that much. And so it really spoke to me. Okay.
I think that's something that a lot of people have done. That totally makes sense, I think. And that's a good message. I mean, that's something that, you know, if you're close with your family, whatever, you will have to do that at some point. I think that is something important. So I guess that's your overall. You were kind of going in a direction I was going to bring up, which was, I think you went there. Why this piece? What came to you from this? You said a little bit about it just now, but what is it about this that you decided, like, okay, this one I really like. This is the one I want to make into the film. Like, what, for both of you, I guess, what was that moment? How did that happen? If there was one specific moment, I don't know.
It was that sort of the parental older parents thing, but it was also Sarah's writing style, and I think this piece in particular is very visual, and so I felt that it would be appropriate to, you know, some books, they're hard to adapt for film. They really don't work the same. But this, I really felt like was kind of begging to be adapted for film. So I think that was really part of it for me too. Just like reading it and feeling like, oh, I can see this in my mind. You know, you don't always know exactly why something hits you, but it did, and I could like see it. I could see it in my head, and I was like, I gotta bring this out. Like, I gotta make it. And
that's awesome. I love that. I mean, I like gothic horror because it gives me a chance to make horror beautiful, and I think that's why I leaned into a more visual writing. Let me see my shirt. It's like, I like pretty horror, right? Like a skull with some flowers, man. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, and I think it also gave us an opportunity. It's a short piece to test out, to really work out our creative relationship and build a good foundation before we try anything even more ambitious, like a feature length piece.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're getting ready to make this, you know, make the sausage, as they say sometimes. So you're getting ready to do this, right? What is your like timeline? You know, I know best laid plans never seem to happen, but what is your hope? When do you think you can get this going, and when do you think you'll be done? When do you think it's ready? It'll be ready for the world to see.
Sure. So we plan to shoot in September, and we hope to have the film done early next year. So for our Kickstarter backers, we have said that we would send everything out by June of next year. So hopefully the film will be done a few months before that, and we'll be able to fulfill everything in a timely manner.
Let me ask this. Then I don't want to cut you. I'm sorry, but so for folks that again want to help on this and want to jump in, ivyshort.com. Talk a little bit about the campaign. What can people do? Say someone's, I got $20. I want to give you $20. Like, you know, what can they do? What can't they do? What do they get from it? Like, let everyone know like what they get from it, I guess.
Yeah, well, for $15, you can see the film, which we thought a lot about the rewards, and we thought that every level should include seeing the film. but we've been on an aggressive timeline since we decided to do this, and we've got a lot of other things that people can get. They can get our production diary, which I think will be really interesting.
Behind the scenes access.
I love behind the scenes, so that's
yeah.
I mean, I think our listeners love behind the scenes too, right? Or they wouldn't listen to us.
So, but
so yeah, behind the scenes access, the production diary. We have a level where you can visit the set and come and like be there while we're filming for a little while. So that's one of the perks. What else we have? We have a live online panel that Sarah and I will be doing where we'll talk more about working together as an author and a filmmaker and how that worked and what we did, what we learned from it and everything. And that's for backers. So it'll be a private online panel.
Awesome. Okay.
And then you can be a producer. You can get a Blu-ray copy of the film. Nice. You can get other films. Okay. You can get Sarah's debuting a short story collection with a never before seen short story in it.
I love it.
And and you can get her to let you name a character and choose the animal or plant that is like the creepy thing in one of her stories.
Okay, I love it. That's awesome.
Sorry, I there's a
lot of exciting there. There's a lot of exciting things that we won't, that will be your chance to get it. I don't know that when we're going to offer for people to actually see the film because we want it to go to film festivals too. Yes. So this is people's opportunity to see it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of this is possibly your only chance to get these things. Like the trilogy that my co-producer is putting up, the Ninjas versus trilogy, which is Ninjas versus Vampires, Ninjas versus Zombies, and Ninjas versus
anything
monsters, which I think I said
anything versus zombies is okay with me. I like that.
And I don't think it's available on Blu-ray right now to purchase. So, but you can get it by backing our campaign at that level.
That's awesome. So this has a lot of good things with it. So that being said, with all this online and everything, so just think about this for a second. I'm just going to throw this out there. Rewind 20 years ago. How would you have done all this without all the social media? How do you think that would have worked? I just wonder sometimes about that. Do you ever think about that?
Well, like 10 or 11 years ago when I made The Lake,
I remember.
I did this without much social media. I mean, there was some, but there wasn't as much.
That's right.
And it was pretty much, I mean, it was mostly self-funded.
I have something to add to that. I mean, 20 years ago, I don't know that I would have been an author. Right? Mm-hmm. What the technology, because I'm independently published. I publish myself, which, I do it very professionally. I've got editors and cover designers and stuff, but I like being able to control your my writing and my property and my creative design and finding fans directly rather than having to go through some middleman.
So you have to wonder, 20 years ago, would you guys have hooked up and done this? Who knows, right? It's interesting.
And 20 years ago, I wasn't making film. I was an actor, mostly in theater. Sorry, my dog is making 16, noise. So. You were a baby.
I was learning. I was still editing with VHS tape at the time. So that's how long ago that was. And we're dating ourselves here. Okay. Yeah. Anyway.
But the Kickstarter allows us, as two women doing Gothic horror, to find an audience and to make this happen.
So I love
because this, and I will still be funding this myself to some extent. Like, let's be real here. This is a short film. You're always going to self-fund some.
Yeah, of course.
But this allows me to make this this allows us to make this a much richer film than I think we could without Kickstarter and without the small grant that we got from the Maryland State Arts Council.
So you guys have done.
So between those two things, it's really going to up the production level.
You guys have really done a lot of good stuff to set yourselves up. You've done the right things. So you just mentioned something interesting. Women-backed films and two women making this. I think that's awesome because I think about like a great book I read, an article I wrote once, some shameless self-promotion about women in horror film. Tara, we've talked about it, Final Girl and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think about like movies like Pet Sematary, Mary Lambert, a woman directing, a very male-dominated horror film. Mary Harron, I think, doing American Psycho, which American Psycho is a book about just basically trashing women to death, like destroying them, murdering them, mutilating them. And, these are two women that have made these movies. Final Girl stuff, like they're the heroines. I think that's super cool that you guys are doing that. Like, talk maybe a little bit more about, do you want to influence, some people that have certain things and do certain things become a role model or an influencer, where like athletes, whether you want to or not, you are doing that. Do you want to do that? Do you want to help more women make kick-ass stuff like this? Or, I mean, how much does that factor in for you guys?
Absolutely. I think this film to us is kind of a start of that. I mean, obviously we are women and we want to make films, right? But also there's a female perspective that is often lacking in not only in horror, but in filmmaking in general. I mean, I think we've got the stats that we put in our Kickstarter that I think it's 26% of the top 100 horror films in 2019 starred women, and where the protagonist was a woman. And then of those top 100, 19% were directed by women. 19, guys. Like, we're doing better than we used to. There are definitely some fantastic women directors and writers out there, but there could be more. And we want to be part of that more. Yeah. We want to help. And horror is a great place to start that motion, because horror is a more progressive genre than a lot of the more mainstream
it's where
genres,
a lot of,
I think. Horror and sci-fi are a
lot of actors get their start. Also, I'll throw in there, I forgot about this. I think anyone that knows movies probably knows Catherine Bigelow, right? Big name, who did a lot of Hollywood movies. But she made a movie called, Tara, we need to talk one day, called Near Dark. She did Near Dark back in the 80s. That's a great movie. And that doesn't get enough love. But she did that one 30 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely need to do that on the podcast.
Those are just three that come to mind right there for me, yeah.
Just to add on that, I think, we want to see more women directing, starring, on the crew. We're trying to have as many women on our crew as possible too, but we're also bringing that in the stories. Like, a lot of the stories that I'm writing feature an older woman as one of the main characters, in the Strangle of Ivy, in the Haunting of Orchard Hill. And like flipping the script on that, it doesn't just need to be the old evil crone anymore.
Right. The psycho bitty.
Snow White, the witch.
Yeah. And also featuring mothers and their children.
Okay. No, I think it's awesome. I think it's very cool. Tell me so we all talked about what you, what made you want to do this, what you thought about it. Was there anything, I mean, every art, people steal things from other people to make stuff, right? You just kind of borrow stuff. Do you want this? Do you have anything that you've seen before that you want it to look like when you're done shooting it? Do you want lighting to look a certain way? Is there anything that inspired you that you're like, I really want to look like this or sound like this?
So we talk about, oh my gosh, I just blanked on the name of the movie that we say that it's like.
The comp films that we have. Yeah. So we say, we have like the Women in Black and Relic.
Relic is the one I lost. Okay. So we say that the Strangle of Ivy is similar to Relic, but with the sort of sheen, if you will, of the Woman in Black. So if you've seen the Woman in Black, it's very gothic. The light is very, very rich and shadowy. And, there's strong light and then strong shadows as well. So we see it as very much like those gothic horrors, right? It should look like, but modern day, right? It's not set period time. It's set now. So it should be modern day, but it should still sort of have a feel and a look of like things like Crimson Peak. And the Skeleton Key actually has pretty good.
But like the daylight. So a lot of what I write is more daylight horror too. It's a very, I think, pretty unique combination with the nature and the daylight and the gothic. So a little bit sunnier maybe
Yeah,
than those.
I feel like it's as opposed to a lot of those things are like a cooler sort of palette. This is going to be a bit of a warmer, more golden, of course, green because Ivy,
right.
but a little bit of a warmer, more golden palette as that base. So I think it will lend to that daylight horror and the aspect that it's hot
Yes.
out. Like in this story, it is hot out. So you need a little bit more of that gold and that warmth.
I dig it because it's like, the trajectory of a horror film is what we start off in the daytime and it's light and we slowly move into darkness. So having a daytime is a totally different thing, which, things are very scary during the day. They can be. So that's cool. I like that. That's good. So let me ask you this. Perfect World, the movie's amazing. You make millions of dollars and, everything. You're world famous.
Because everybody makes money off short films.
So, like, what are this is such a generic question, but I mean, what are the hopes? What do you truly want at the end of the day, 18, 24 months from now? When you're done with this, what do you want this to have done?
I think, we want it to do really well at festivals. So, help us get noticed. But I think also this is a calling card for us.
Do you want this to be a platform? Is this a place to also not only make your film, but to tell a story about something else? Is this like a jumping off point for something?
It's a jumping off point for us to make feature films, right? So this is sort of a proof of concept that we can make this daylight gothic horror and make it look and sound great and tell these stories and people like it. So the hope is that this will be the start of that. Okay.
Definitely.
What after this you want to collaborate again? And I know this is so in a distance, maybe, I don't know, the future, but what do you guys think? Have you already talked about anything you want to do next? Or is it really just tunnel vision right now? We're just on this and we'll get to this like later. What do you think about that?
I think like most creatives, we suffer from an abundance of ideas.
Yes.
So I mentioned The Haunting of Orchard Hill, which is my debut novel, and we do want to adapt that for screen. So we'll work on co-writing the screenplay together. And we also have another idea for an original screenplay that deals with some heavy female-related issues that we don't often see portrayed, and we want to pick that apart.
Okay,
yeah,
I like it.
But no spoilers.
We're kind of dancing around it, but.
Unlike the Scary Movie Project, this is no spoilers.
I don't want you guys to spoil anything. I certainly don't want to spoil because I can't wait to see this. Okay, this is great. So this is just a kind of a quick short we did. Something different this time that you'll get to watch on my site and of course Scary Movie Project. It is Tara Garwood. It is Sara Crocoll Smith. It is the Strangle of Ivy, and you can find out more at ivyshort.com. Ladies, I'm going to let you send us off with anything else we need to know, any websites, any hashtags, any whatever people need to know so they can find out more about this.
Just make sure to go to ivyshort.com by June 30th because that's when it ends. So that will be your opportunity to back if you're interested in getting any of the rewards we mentioned.
Yeah, you only have a few days, so
make the most of it, people.
And a lot of these things you won't see again, like we said.
And we'll keep it moving. I can't wait to see it. I hope everyone enjoys it when it is, and we'll all find out, and we're all going to love it, and it's going to be great. Thank you both for your time on this. This is awesome, and let's touch base again when we find out more. Let's do it. Let's do it again.
Thank you. Thanks for having us on.